Voltage games are some of the cheapest Otome games you can find, and I wondered, are they cheap for a reason or are they actually hidden gems? Well, one thing is sure, they're definitely cheaper if you buy them on the Switch than if you buy every route on mobile. Though the Switch version doesn't always include all the story elements, all the story chapters and like special events, nor all the LIs. Voltage games are known for like toxic and possessive LIs who obsess about an often faceless and sometimes even characterless heroine. The stories are often told in short chapters and are also not very lengthy, more about the 3-hour mark. That means they have like easy conflicts and easy solutions and don't go in too much depth, obviously. But they still have some slight character developments or revelations. Most endings are also happy and only slightly angsty or sometimes bittersweet. For all the Voltage games, you can try out the prologues on the app for free, and the Switch games very often go in sale, so keep an eye out for that. Just to be clear, I haven't played them myself, for reasons you might discover once we go through this video, but I still wanted to cover them on this channel because they're Otome games and they all come in bilingual releases, meaning in English and Japanese at the same time, so you can easily switch between languages and compare your translation. The downside is that, except for the newly announced Even If Tempest, we're gonna talk about at the end of the video, they are not voiced. And for most of these games, the Japanese level isn't too high. So we'll go through all the available Voltage games on the Switch so far, with the creme de la creme at the end of the video. Starting with My Last First Kiss. After you have been rejected by your crush, your childhood friends are there to console you, but after that night, you are more than friends. This game has a more mature approach to the childhood friends trope and focuses on first blossoming love. In King of Paradise, you attend a chic party just to find your husband with his mistress, and he's trying to argue that he loves his life like it is, like you cook and clean for him, while he has his lover. And this embarrassing scene is witnessed by the LIs, and they swiftly turn you into the Cinderella of the evening, so you can proudly face your husband and demand a divorce. Though afterwards your life doesn't look too good either, as you can't seem to find a job. But again, the LIs come to rescue you and to offer you to become the maid at their mansion. And with no other option in hand, you move in with them. The game looks so super cheesy with the lines like, "I'll remind you what it means to be a woman." But if you like the rich man turn a poor girl into a Cinderella trope, you might still have fun with it. In Scandal in the Spotlight, you lost your song script as an aspiring songwriter no one wants to hire. But then you receive tickets to your favorite boy band's concert and find out they are singing your song. Afterwards, they pressure you to either join them as a ghostwriter, or they will make sure that you will never succeed in the entertainment industry. This game might be for K-pop or J-pop fans, as well as those who are intrigued by a forbidden romance. In Ayakashi Romance Reborn, after finding a Kagura bell, the power of fighting spirits awakens within you, and you have to fight evil spirits off to defend the city. Meanwhile, joining either faction of the Ayakashi LIs. This game has some slight gameplay elements, but what it has not are story choices, and the romance in this game falls a bit short. In My Love in the Force, you are the only woman in the police academy and face some sadistic and dominant colleagues, who all have their own reasons for being in the force. After your first week, you have to choose an instructor to work with and whose orders you have to obey at all costs. Though some characters are deeper than first meets the eye, they are all like typical Voltage sadists. In My Forged Wedding, you are in desperate need for a job and therefore do your uncle a favor and find yourself in a fake marriage with one of the LIs. Again, each LI has a reason why he needs to pretend to be married, and they're supposed to be like relatable and realistic, as well as the sweet and fluffy love development. In My Love Letter from a Thief X, you work in a museum, and after an encounter with a group of famous thieves, you find out you have a hint to their next target, because these are no normal thieves. They are more like Robin Hoods, stealing art from criminals and returning them to their rightful owner. And now they are looking for your grandfather's masterpiece that has been lost but might be of utmost importance, and they don't take no for an answer. So you decide to be curator at day and help them out at night. In this entry, the MC actually has a bit more of a sassy character, what makes for some funny dialogues. In our 2-bedroom story, your mom remarries and your stepfather offers you to live in one of his apartments rent-free. And not wanting to intrude on them and loving the thought of living alone rent-free, you immediately accept his offer. But what your stepfather failed to mention was that his son already lives there too. And if that wasn't complicated enough, he also turns out to be one of your co-workers at your job. And it would be a scandal if anybody would be to find out that you are living together. This is one of the more popular Voltage games that actually doesn't feature as toxic tropes as usually and tells a fluffy romance story with a slight breeze of angst here and there. The only thing fans have been criticizing that the Switch port doesn't include the fan favorite Tsugume. The next one might be a bit more controversial, and that's Kissed by the Baddest Bidder. In exchange for having destroyed an immensely valuable statue for a black market auction, you are to make up for it and put on sale yourself. 5 guys placed the highest bids, and it's up to you to decide who you want to give your body and soul to from now on. And yet again, each of these highest bidders are not as they first seem to be and have their own convincing reasons why they act as they do. But the problem for many is apparent if you are not into human trafficking or allies who think they own you. You might want to skip on this title. That being said, I don't think there's anything wrong with embracing your toxic fantasies. And more about my take on toxic tropes in Otome games, check out this video. In Enchanted in the Moonlight, you are attacked by evil Ayakashi due to your alluring blood, and 6 good Ayakashi come to your rescue. But if they are to protect you, you have to bear their child. We're the very characters who have quirks according to the mythical creature they are based on. But again, all of them can be a bit pushy, to put it like that. And the MC can change from sassy to docile depending on the route, what might not be to everybody's liking but enhances the chance there might be a route that is to your taste. Star-Crossed Myth is probably the highest praised Voltage game. As you make a wish at the Tanabata festival, suddenly 6 attractive men appear claiming to be gods, but they have been cast out of heaven for their sins, and you are the only way for them to redeem them, by granting your wish. Once that wish has been granted, however, they will inevitably return to heaven. Though gods seem to have everything, they don't have love. And love between humans and gods is generally forbidden, though it might create a bond that will change the world's fate. How will a love story between a god and a mortal end? If you decide to buy both games, you can romance 12 gods, all representing the zodiacs. Some of them are, as always, sinners of sexual consent, while others are just plain mean. But all have intriguing backstories. But still, this is one of the most highly praised Voltage games to date. Why haven't I played any Voltage games though? It's not because of the toxic tropes, I actually don't mind them as long as they are well written. And that is something I think the Voltage games so far don't really succeed at. Good writing accompanied by pretty art. Because the art style of most of the games didn't speak to me at all, and a faceless or eyeless heroine even creeps me out a bit, to be honest. And watching all the trailers, they only made me laugh because they are so cheesy, but not in a good way, but in a kind of cheap way, and I'm sorry to say that. So as far as I can tell, Voltage games are cheap for a reason. Even when it comes to learning Japanese, I appreciate the fact that you can switch between languages and the Japanese level is relatively easy. But without any voice acting, that's still not too appealing for me as a learner. I think for many people these games are either hit or miss. They can be nice comfort food if you don't want anything too strenuous to play or just want a sweet, short love story. But if you expect a deep story with multidimensional characters, I don't think Voltage games so far are the best option for that. But this opinion of course might completely change with the newly announced Even If Tempest that will be fully voiced and at a full price, and I will talk about it in a later video. But what is your opinion about Voltage games? Do I have a wrong impression about them? Which ones do you love or hate? Looking forward to discussing with you, and I hope I see you then. Bye!